In this video, we're going to investigate the photoelectric effect. When you open the hyperlink and start the simulation, it gives you this window. There's a couple things to notice. This is the metal plate. Right now, up here, it tells us that we are using sodium. We have a lamp that we can change the intensity and the color of. And we have a battery down here that we can adjust in order to nullify the current and determine the maximum energy of the electrons that are emitted. So let's just turn on the lamp here a little bit, and we see we get electrons flowing. If I adjust the intensity downward, I still have electrons, just not as many of them. I can go all the way down. Still have electrons, but again, not as many of them. Oh, maybe I went down. Nope, not too far. They're just very, very few. So adjusting intensity changes how many electrons I get out, not the fact that I get electrons. Additionally, if I adjust the battery here, I can set it to a battery voltage such that the electrons just barely don't make it to the opposite plate. So I am just barely killing the current. Almost there now. Still got a little bit. Let's try 0.8. There you go. The most energetic electrons just barely don't make the plate. Knowing the charge of the electron and the voltage needed to get this effect, I can determine what the energy or the frequency of the light is that I'm using. What happens if I change the color of the light? So let's just put that all the way up, put this back to 0. Oop. Back to 0, I swear. Back to 0. There we go. When I shine IR light on sodium, no electrons. And I'm just going to scan this downward until I start seeing electrons. So here they are. You can see they're not nearly as energetic as the ones we were working with a little bit ago, but they are. We can look for a bias voltage again. Now we're at 0.4, whereas before, if you remember, we were at negative 0.8. Oh, 0.4 seems to be a little bit big too. Let's try a little bit smaller. 0.2. Still big. So these are much less energetic electrons. Not a big surprise, I think, at this point. If I continue my scan downward, let's get rid of the voltage again. You can see as I go to the UV, now I have much more energetic electrons. They are moving much more quickly across the screen. But okay, let's come back up here. What if we're not working with sodium? Remember with sodium, the first electrons we saw occurred in the green somewhere, I believe. Is that not correct? Yeah, at about 530 nanometers. What if instead of sodium, I was working with a zinc plate? So let's do the same thing. Let's just get rid of all those really quick. Okay, now let's look with zinc for the color, the frequency that results in the first electrons emitted. So with sodium it was in the green, with zinc it's well down into the UV. So the frequency of light, the color of the light that first allows the electrons to be released, depends on what type of material you're shining the light on.